That helps, I think. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Bev. That's kind of you to say we're funny. Funny what? Funny odd? Funny like a clown? Scorsese, anyone see The Killers of the Flower Moon? You might not be a Scorsese fan, you might not even be a movie fan, you might not care for such things. But do go and check out the trailer that I reacted to last night, Killers of the Flower Moon. What a brilliantly constructed trailer. The film might be shit, but the trailer was brilliant. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Robertson. Good morning, everybody. GCSE madness still in this household. Oh yeah, it's GCSE maths today. And just in tribute to every child taking a test, we're going to sit our SATs today because children have been left in pieces. I kid you not. Kids are falling apart and we're going to take the test. We're going to take the test. So hopefully you're all here. Hopefully you're all in line. Hopefully you're all going to sit down, take your seats quietly. I remember taking my seat quietly in a Spanish lesson, and then I turned around and a chair was flying through the sky, literally, towards Miss Me. And Miss Me was the name of our Spanish teacher, and of course, because we were little kind of bastards, we'd say things like, Miss Me, did you miss me? Miss Me. I mean, as if anyone else hadn't said that. Claire LC, you're sweating already. Yeah, just the word SATs. Just horrible, isn't it? Have you sat your SATs? Hi, April Hill, Cloda, Nicole, Marcella, Ellen Jane, Sue Wood, Brenda M. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day. Wherever you are in the world, wherever you are. Obviously, right, let's do some, what's it called? Not window dressing. Let's do some admin. Curly Cooks tomorrow. Live. Unedited. Unadulterated. Total madness. Obviously Coffee Moaning Papers. On Sunday, it's a live no-name Sunday show. We know you like those, so we're going to do a live no-name Sunday show. The no-name Sunday show is a more relaxing companion in the members area. If you're not a member, you can join down below. And there will be a members live at some point landing. I think it's Nadia and Dina's turn this week. They're going to be touching base with you. There's also going to be a live tonight on Instagram. Nadia is doing one at 7 o'clock. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but she will be live on Instagram tonight at 7. Hi, Tori. Hope you're well. Hope your anniversary celebrations went well. Donny Harvey, mine will be a Eurovision score, nil point. Oh, in the SATs. Yes, this is going to be interesting, isn't it? Pauline Roberts, have fun in Tenerife. Such a great word, isn't it? Tenerife. Give us a tenor. Reef. Lee Durham, we used to sing to my French teacher, he smells, he stinks, he doesn't wear his links, Mr. Peg. Crikey. I wonder if that's stuck with them. I wonder if teachers carry their nicknames. No, Katie Greening, GCSE run. Maths. Pauline Roberts, thank you. Yeah, we used to have a maths teacher called Mr. Lipstick as well. I mean, we'd just say, when you're a kid, you think anything's funny, don't you? You go, have you got your lipstick, Mr. Lipstick? MT, sending you a great big love. Faith Goodman, Backgrid reply to Harry and Meghan. Gonna literally be quoting Backgrid is the paparazzi news gathering outfit that was obviously part of the group of PAPs, snappers, chasing Harry and Meghan. I know Nadia talked about this extensively yesterday. I think one of the differences, one of the things that might have struck Hazza and Meghan might have been that New York is an incredibly, actually Manhattan especially, is an incredibly claustrophobic space after California. You know, California is flat, low to the ground, and New York is inherently almost geographically and architecturally quite stressful and oppressive. So I just think the idea of just driving at 20 miles an hour in the grid system of avenues and streets of New York, Manhattan, might have just stressed them out. They might have just been, I think if they jumped in a yellow cab, they might have just, normally, I mean, you know, obviously there was a yellow cab involved, they may have been just as stressed, because sometimes it's If you've never seen another Scorsese film, After Hours, there's a really funny New York cab scene in that, which is kind of quite accurate. But anyway, Sarah Witherington, I'm pleased you said that. I said this yesterday, or the day whenever it broke. I said to Naz, I said, it's actually quite hard to drive fast. I know there's the FDR and there's a couple of other ring roads that come from the bridges and the tunnels and all that kind of stuff. But it's actually quite hard to drive quickly in New York. You can drive erratically, but it's very hard to drive quickly. So I must admit, when I heard this, I didn't necessarily think, oh, they're not talking the truth. But I thought, bit of an exaggeration. It might have to be a bit of an exaggeration. But then at the same time, as I say, being in New York, being in a claustrophobic space with loads of people. I mean, apparently mopeds and scooters were reversing up onto, the sidewalks and all that kind of stuff. So, it was clearly stressful. And I think, who are we to say it wasn't necessarily? But that is one of the first stories we're going to talk about today. Yes, is that all the housekeeping? I think it is. Obviously, we're going to do the Friday quiz today. Other stories, I failed to pop them all in the headline here, but we've got, obviously, the PAPs, a little answer back to Harry and Meghan. We've got SATs, Anton Decker leaving Saturday Night Telly. Is that a disaster? What was this story? Kit Kat cereal, guys. Now, obviously, this isn't targeting Kit Kat. Personally, I love the chunky Kit Kat. But Kit Kat cereals. I want you to be thinking about what your favourite cereals were as a kid. Open House, Channel 4's latest TV brainwave, is a series, which I think this is the second series. It's come out before. But this takes naked attraction to a whole new level. Is it social experiment, or is it just a chance to just titillate? And as I say, quiz of the week. Oh, guys, it's that time, isn't it? It's that time of the day when on a Friday, how's the feed, by the way? We've got new Wi-Fi. It looks sharper, it feels sharper, but is it sharper? That's the question. But let's also check and see if it actually makes any difference to this. Fuck off Friday. Oh, mate. Oh. Mate. Matey flip. Okay, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to Brecky in a minute. There was a story somewhere else where I saw some TikToker was complaining about a 32-pound scrambled egg on toast being tasteless, 32 pounds. And they had shavings of truffle on the top. And then you sort of think, well, I can't remember where they went. I think it was Dior or somewhere like that. And you sort of think, well, why go to Dior where you know the breakfast is going to be expensive, stupidly so, to then complain? I don't get it. It's like going to the Ritz and saying a cup of tea is stupidly expensive. Of course it is. But £32 is a lot. £32 is a lot. Thanks, Michelle. Just received your email, darling. What was the other story that was a bit like that I was going to talk about? Oh, Christ. It was, I can't remember. It'll come back to me. I just wanted to share this story with you. What do you make of this? Anyone here from Australia? Anyone in the room? Aussie? An elderly Australian woman with dementia is in hospital with life-threatening injuries after being tasered by police at a care home. Officers were called to Yallambee Lodge in Cooma after reports that the 95-year-old Claire Noland was carrying a knife. Okay, so here's the question. Should you taser a 95-year-old knife-wielding pensioner? That's not the poll question I was even expecting to ask. Should you taser a 95-year-old knife-wielding elderly woman? Bet you weren't expecting that. No. Obviously, my sense on this story is that she must have some kind of I'd have thought, condition. She was found armed with a steak knife in the early hours of. I mean, I sincerely hope she wasn't just trying to cut some steak. You know, like there are moments sometimes where I think if we cut in a really hard edit to Nanny Di in her flat, she could easily look like some kind of psychopath. Do you know what I mean? If she's wielding something in the wrong way. She was found armed, in inverted commas. 2 officers and care home staff tried to de-escalate the situation before she began approaching police. It's fair to say, sorry, I shouldn't laugh at this. The police admitted it's fair to say she was moving at a slow pace. Bonnie Delaney, absolutely. I think it's psychosis or something. She had a walking frame, but she had a knife. You'd think that the police have been trained in some way to disarm someone without having to attack them. Anyway, family friend of Miss Nolan, the 95-year-old, said that she was struck twice in the chest and the back before falling, suffering a fractured skull and a serious bleed. Now, clearly, this isn't going to look good for her because she's 95. And, you know, the terrible fact of the matter is when someone falls at the age of 95 or in their 90s, it's always a tricky moment. I always remember my dear Nan falling in the bathroom, and she's an incredibly strong woman. But there is something sort of gives sometimes, doesn't it? Community groups in Australia have criticised the police response. She's either one hell of an agile, fit, fast and intimidating 95-year-old woman, or there's a very poor lack of judgment from these officers. She needed somebody to handle her with compassion and time and not taser. Absolutely. Given that she couldn't have moved quickly, so the reports are somewhere that she had dementia. Given that she couldn't move quickly, presumably there was all sorts of options to talk to her or to even block her movement. So I think that's quite a horrendous story. Let's just see what you guys are saying. Yeah, no, a vast majority of you saying no. You have a gross overreaction. Yes, absolutely, jogging jelly. That's yeah. You echo exactly my words. It can start a steep decline, a fall, the nature of the fall. Dawny Harvey, good question. They tasered her twice. Question mark. Yes, they couldn't get the knife off her after just one. Poor woman. I mean, you know, poor woman. Okay, I know that you have. I know you have a limited tolerance for Harry and Meghan, but they are all over the press, and I didn't feel I had my bite of the cherry yesterday when Nads had a crack at it. I can't remember what was your I haven't seen Coffee Man. What was your assessment? Are Harry and Meghan exaggerating the trauma that they felt yesterday? But the development of the story is, I mean, you know, I think it's been well discussed. You know, it's felt lots of people, the NYPD, you know, New York Police Department are saying it wasn't a near catastrophic chase. The language is odd, isn't it? Near catastrophic. It was a bit chaotic. I think we have to have some compassion for the fact that Harry is probably, as I say, hypersensitive, given obviously the nature of his mother's passing away. So I think we can cut him a little bit of slack there. It sounds like their security arsenal or personnel made a bit of a balls up of the whole thing. I know a number of other people were posting yesterday saying as such. I know there was a cab driver who, Piers Morgan, in his slightly unwell obsession to constantly nip at their heels. I mean, he just needs to let it go. Was obviously the first to get an interview with the cab driver to, you know, quickly establish that it was all a load of nonsense. Tom Buda, the head of their security firm responsible for the transport, said the chase was frightening and was putting them in danger. So anyway, you know, no one's going to agree. I think it's one of those things where it's an opportunity to double down on your intolerance of them and what have you, or another chance, if you're pro them, to kind of obviously feel that they're being much maligned and targeted, etc. Faith Goodman, watch the videos. Meghan is laughing in the taxi whilst Harry was filming on his mobile. They're stationary in a traffic jam. I don't know if you remember in the documentary, there was a similar sequence. I mean, I'm always looking at sequences like that to see where the extra camera shake is. I mean, you can make things, you know, you can make things look quite dramatic. I mean, like me and my nanny Dolly, we often have fights in our gardening series, Green Fingered Hell. And, you know, a bit of camera shake makes it look even more disastrous. Though, to be honest with you, my mum is quite something with a rake and a trowel. You need to be careful. So, you do have to defend yourself. Ellery Jones, yes, the suggestion was that Meghan's mum was in the car with them, absolutely. But the paparazzi, so listen to this quote. So lawyers for Meghan and Harry have demanded not the original copies of the footage and the photographs, but for not the originals, like, you know, like give us them and don't print them, but they have requested copies of the footage and the photographs that were taken by a company or an organisation called Backgrid. Now, Harry and Meghan's lawyers say, we hereby demand that, it's a bit royal, isn't it? Hereby demand. We hereby demand that Backgrid immediately provide us with copies of all photos, videos and or films taken last night by the freelance photographers after the couple left their event. The reason they've given is so that they can improve their security in future. Now, Backgrid, so let's say the paparazzi representatives, their lawyers pushed back on this, and listen to this. Talk about taking us back to Civil War times and all the rest of it. They said, in America, as I'm sure you know, property belongs to the owner of it. Third parties cannot just demand it to be given to them, as perhaps kings do. Perhaps you should sit down with your client, this is to Harry and Meghan's lawyer, and advise them that his English rules of royal prerogative to demand that the citizenry hand over their property to the crown were rejected by this country long ago. We stand by our founding fathers. Now, Malumu, would we have the same conversation if it was William and Kate experiencing anything like that? We are all obsessed about them, don't you think? We analyse everything. I entirely agree. And that's why it's in the press. I mean, but what about that reply, guys? What do you think of that reply? I'm just going to remove the elderly. Oh, no, Harry and Meghan. Even if they're I mean, our founding fathers. Wow. Having a crack at his royalness. Wow. Cara Blears, I think they 100% believe their version of it. They tell people how bad it is so much they believe it. However, they're human and do need some compassion, though they don't help themselves. I think that's important. I know the Backgrid response, the paparazzi, if you're wondering who the hell Backgrid are, it's the paparazzi response. What a pushback. We stand by our founding fathers. I've always found it curious that, you know, if there's such antipathy towards the Brits, don't talk British. Because, I mean, there were lots of different nations, weren't there, that landed in America. Yeah. Desperados. Who? Meghan and Harry or the Paps? Anne-Marie Locher? These two are going to really struggle to live a normal life. Yeah. As I say, nothing's going to budge anyone from where they sit on the Meghan and Harry position. I mean, if I'm honest, I sit down the middle. I mean, I don't think they help their cause at all. And you could argue that they do try and keep as low a profile as they can. Could you? I don't know. Anyway, I just thought the response from the Paps was quite something. Now, I know you don't want this, and I know it's been sprung upon you, but I'm going to quickly test you on your SATs. We're going to do obviously, this is the story that a number of pupils, year 6 pupils, were left in tears and distressed. The SATs assessment was described as unnecessarily difficult. Investigations have been requested from Ofqual. A head teacher from Cheshire said that tears flowed from our most capable readers and stress levels rose amongst all others. Now, what we have to remember here is that this assessment is for 10 and 11-year-olds. So, you know, we're presumably, the vast majority of us are older. I'm I'm going to run through a few sample questions that some of the news websites have kind of popped up here. And I want you to see if you can answer it. This isn't the quiz, but yeah, okay, let's just see how tough these are. Question 1 is, quote, "Then it hit her," which is obviously a quote lifted from the forthcoming passage. And then the question is, what is it? What hit her? And the text says, "Priya woke with a start, her heart beating fast. Something had disturbed her, but she wasn't sure what. Then it hit her. Rustlers. They had to be. It couldn't possibly be Mr. Jones. Why would we have 2 vehicles? Why would he park there with the lights out? She knew she was right." So the question was, what hit her? What was it? What would your answer be to that? "Priya woke with a start, heart beating fast. Something had disturbed her, but she wasn't sure what. Then it hit her. Rustlers. They had to be. It couldn't possibly be Mr. Jones. Why would he have 2 vehicles? Why would he park with the lights out? She knew she was right." There are 3 acceptable answers. What would you say the answer is? Julie Beddoes, a thought. Edward Bevington, realization. Erin Bullimore, realization. Hilary Daly, realization. Anxiety. A dream, fear. What is it? Then it hit her. What is it? See, that's interesting. Noise. All of you who would say realization would get it right. The 3 acceptable answers were Priya's realization they were rustlers, Priya's understanding of the situation, and Priya's realization only. It would be wrong if you said the rustlers. So you can see where they're testing there. You know, it's the idea that something, an idea or a feeling or a concept can hit you rather than a thing or a person. Do you think that's hard for 10 or 11 years olds? It's very hard, isn't it, to work that one out? You know, does that take years of living life at full tilt with all the vicissitudes of living that life? I don't, personally, if I'm really honest, I don't think that's massively stressful. Personally, I don't think. But let's do the next one. Let's see if this tips us over. Well, let's know, that's too long. Question 3. Oh, the next question for you guys. It is quite deep. Steph, maybe you're right, it is quite deep. Yeah. Okay, question 3. Quote, in inverted commas, "She wriggled back inside the tent." Question, what does this tell you about how Priya got inside the tent? Tick one of these answers. Was it A, she ran quickly inside, B, she jumped through the flap, C, she had to squeeze in, or D, she crept in quietly? So ran, jumped, squeeze, or crept. The quote is, "She wriggled back inside the tent." What does it tell you about how Priya got inside the tent? Lots of you are saying, see, one of you saying crept, a lot of you are saying squeeze. Squeezed, absolutely, squeeze. Okay, so that is the right answer, squeeze. But the teacher at this school believed that many children would have chosen the word crept, crept, and that would have been a wrong answer. Did you see there was a history GCSE paper? I didn't see the actual question, but they got the dates wrong in the question. Wow. These are too hard for me. I think I prefer the BBC quiz, Faith Goodman. You are funny. This is mad. This is learning, asks Edward Bevan. I mean, it goes back to the idea of, is learning, I mean, this is about comprehension, isn't it? This is about testing whether you can comprehend a situation or things that are said to you, I guess. Question 4 is too long. I'll try and abridge it. Look at the first 2 paragraphs. Question 4. In which American state is the Congress Avenue Bridge found? This is for Brits. This is for kids in Britain. And there's a long passage that talks about the Congress Avenue Bridge in the city of Austin. Could hardly look more normal. Grey, dreary bridge. By night, it plays host to some of the most amazing shows nature has to offer. Under the bridge is home to more than 1 million bats, and in evening and summer, they come swarming out. Sounds beautiful. Standing on the bridge, you might even feel the wind from their wings as they pass by. Austin is the capital of the state of Texas in the USA, but it's also the bat capital of North America. Didn't know that. The bats under the bridge attract thousands of visitors, and every August, lovers celebrate Bat Fest on the bridge in their honor. So, the question here is, to a 10 or 11-year-old, which American state is the Congress Avenue Bridge found? Why a question about America in a British school, Jennifer Winter? Again, it's about comprehension, isn't it? But you're right. I mean, so Elsa Pop, Texas, Faith Goodman, Texas, Lee Durrant, Austin, Sarah Fox, sounds batty, Edward Bevelton. I mean, I've learned more about bats and Austin than anything else. Texas. See, now, and a few of you are saying Austin. The correct answer is Texas, because the question is in which American state? But the teacher said it was unlikely that a large number of children that it was likely that a large number of children would not be familiar with American geography to know that Austin wasn't a state. Transylvania, me shows. Yeah. Like we did there. That was funny. Sadie C, can't lie, stop listening. Get to the back of the class. Get to the back of the class, Sadie C. Anyway, there you go. I mean, 10, 11-year-olds. Yeah, Lee, you said Austin. See, again, it's that thing of sometimes we make speedy out. This is like I was talking to Kiki about a maths exam. I said, what you need to do is the further you go through any maths paper, the less likely it is that you're going to be able to do the equations, because it just gets harder, doesn't it? So I said, go slow and then go slower still, which is what they say about marathons. And I said, show all you're working out. And if you get to the point where you're hitting all sorts of walls where you can't do stuff, go all the way back and try and fill in any of the ones that you were struggling with at the beginning. There you go. Who was that? Was that Tez? Someone said, I'm surprised they would think Austin instead of Houston. Yeah. So there you go. Sats. You either agree with testing or you don't. Anton Decker leaving Saturday Night Takeaway. For anyone who's not from the UK, these are two very popular presenters. They present I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of here. Anton Decker will step back from the BAFTA-winning Saturday Night Takeaway in 2024. I seem to remember they did this before, didn't they? They stopped for 4 years. It's less about, I mean, are you a fan of Anton Deck? I don't know, any Brits here? Are you a fan of Anton Deck? My grandmother, Nanny Thelma, couldn't stand them. I mean, it was such a visceral response to their cheeky, chappy personas. Oh, Lee Durrant, thank God they're on TV too much. There you go. Skulking at the back, Sadie C. You can skulk all you want, but I can see you. Yeah, Elsa Pop, they said on This Morning, don't mention that show, that they're taking a pause. That's what they did before. They're taking a pause. They're going to hedge their bets. I mean, they're not going to say absolutely no. Not their biggest fan, Sadie C. Well, you can talk right at the back of class. Never watch it because they are so annoying, but at least they can't win the awards. Wow, so quite a few find them quite annoying. I think they're very funny on Bring Back Noel's House Party DJ. Okay, so chuck down, what would have been some of your favourite Saturday night shows? Russ Souch, hope you're well, Russ. I like them, but for the love of God, sick of seeing the same old presenters. You know what you mean? Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Melissa Wallington, I don't watch them on Saturday Night Live, so it won't impact me. Yeah, I think maybe I've sold the story a bit incorrectly. The impact of them, not presenting. Noel's House Party, Julie Beddoes, you like that? Yeah. Matthew Kelly, do you remember that? Blind Date. I know it's incredibly, I fear I might start an outcry like dissing the dolly. I was never really a fan of Cilla Black. And I was never really a fan of, I felt she was feigning or pushing her accent. I mean, I know she's, incredibly popular and I don't know. Noel's House Generation Game, Faith Goodman. That was good. I like shows with real families put under the gamut. Gladiator. Yeah, I never really got into that. Who remembers, what was that show with Michael Barrymore where he'd run up and down a set of stairs? Does anyone remember Child's Play? I love that show. It was kind of like a precursor to memes, wasn't it? It's like clips of kids saying ridiculous things. Strike it lucky, that was it. Who remembers, what was the card game? Play your cards right. Of course it was, play your cards right. Blankety blank, blankety blank, 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 blankety blank, blankety blank. Obviously, what's his name? Paul O'Grady used to present that. Watch out, Beadle's about. Watch out, Beadle's about. Family Fortune, that was good. Man, oh man, I don't know if that was the actual name, but when they used to push the men into the water if they didn't like them. What was that? The Golden Shot. That sort of almost leads us to Channel 4's new show, You've Been Framed. That's still on, isn't it? That's still going. Harry Hill, that was always fun. 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. I want to know how long he stood there. 3, 2, 1. Let's do it in slow motion. 3, 2, 1. And then you get it. You go 3, 2, 1. But he did it faster than that. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, 3, 2, 1. And I mean, in the playground, we'd all go 3, 2, 1. Dusty Bin. I love Dusty Bin. I thought you said Lee Doran. I thought you said take your prick. I was going to say, bloody hell, mate. Dusty Bin. The one with the huge red balls, Faith, you have to climb onto and over obstacles. Oh, yes. What was that? What was it? Bullseye. In 1. You get a prize. In 2. You get, I don't know, a sort of ironing board. In 3. You get a water siphon. And then Bully's Star Prize. And camper van. Wasn't it? Caravan or something like that. Oh, I used to love the little animation of Bullseye, you know, with his little striped shirt. In 1. I used to love it when people completely miss the board. Total wipeout, Abby Myers, that's it. Nothing more fun than watching someone be totally wiped out. Really crap presents on Bullseye. Do you remember Sale of the Century? God, what about the old days when you used to have a very pretty lady presenting stuff? I mean, how out of the arc? Deal or No Deal? But was that a Saturday night show? I think you'll find it wasn't. Really hurt my finger doing that. In 9. Oh, God. All right, you get the idea. Isn't it wonderful that darts is a sport where, do they still do it, where you can drink pint after pint after pint of beer? I would not want to be the umpire. I think umpire sounds like a very sort of souped up description for the man standing next to the dartboard. But as they drank more beer, I would slowly step further away from the dartboard, wouldn't you? Oh, they did. They banned drinking. And I was always petrified, if I'm honest, by, I realise now that there are lots of women darts players, but I was always quite scared and yet fascinated by the wives of some of those dart players. When they'd cut, I was always waiting for the cutaway. At the hockey, you know, they'd spin around. Well, they wouldn't spin around because it wasn't a Scorsese film. How many times can I mention Scorsese? They'd cut to the crowd, and there'd be a baying crowd of just, yeah. And you'd be like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to get caught down a dark alley with you lot. Woo. Claire Hemming, back of the class. That is intolerant. Back of the class. What the hell are we talking about? This was Ant and Dec. There you go. Ant and Dec hanging up their boots for a couple of years before they come back. Not going to do that story. Oh, right, Kit Kat. Okay. Oh no, let's do. Oh no, we've got to do this. Come on. I'm sorry. I'm running over. Let's get rid of this story. Quiz of the week is coming. Quiz of the week is coming. Open House. Did anyone see on Channel 4 their new series, Open House? What's it called? Open House: The Great Sex Experiment. Did anyone watch that? Linda Tyler. I used to love watching darts. Who watched it? Yes, I watched the whole series. Yes, Lee, you dirty dog. Okay, if you don't know what this is Channel 4's this is like Naked Attraction on steroids. This is a show in which couples are encouraged to explore the concept of open relationships. And they move through a graduated sort of system where they all head off, I think, to a sort of country house or a mansion or something like that. And they start by having threesomes, and then they move on to foursomes. And in a later episode, by all accounts, there's an 18-person orgy. I think we should do this on How to Stay Married. I think this is, I mean, there are two things here. One, I think more people are into this stuff than we like to think. Because don't you think Channel 4 might have done their, and it's quite graphic. They've got secret cameras in all the rooms, and you can hear all sorts of things. And I haven't watched it, but and apparently you can see stuff. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I think it's swingers, all that kind of stuff. Doesn't sound like I miss much, Claire Haywood. But you sort of think you do get what kind of got me in sort of pulling this story was the great sex experiment. It's like if you put the word experiment at the end of anything, and then pop in the middle of it all a psychologist of some form so that you can easily claim on your hazard assessment and psychological reports for contributors that you've done your duty of care. We've got a psychologist. We've got a psychologist in there. You have a social experiment. And I just think now they've done this, where can you go after this? You've got people dating based upon the shape of penises and nunas. You've got, now you've got couples. I mean, obviously the thing about this is they're all couples who are wanting and keen to explore their sexuality and their relationships and all that kind of stuff. As Nadia often says, I don't think it's ever a simple thing, this. I always think there's one part of a couple that's kind of up for it more than the other, and I think jealousy abounds, and it's very difficult. Lee, we totally understand that you didn't watch because you're into it in that sort of way. I totally get that. But I do just worry that this is filth, says Edward Bevington. Nice and simple, filth. Just listening now, as in car. Bye, everyone. Bye, Ali. Claire Hem, a lot of WTFs, like some sex club thing. Yeah, I think so. I mean, a part of me is curious just to see how they format it and presumably sort of fame. I mean, a lot of these shows like Love at First Sight, Love is Blind, even Married at First Sight, it's all about, we're all watching it thinking, I wonder if they'll go off with them. And but I think, threesomes and all that kind of stuff. Yes, the Smiths, the band, the Smiths bassist Andy Rourke has died tragically at the age of 59, fighting pancreatic cancer. The Smiths, huge part of the soundtrack of college life for me. So that's Open House. So I urge you all to go and watch it if you're not of a nervous disposition, and then report back, because I think we might watch one of them and share our thoughts on it. And now finally, before we get to the quiz, Kit Kat cereal. Who thinks this is too much? Do you think this is too much? Lots of judgment on the chat, Emma Allen. Look, absolutely, if this is not for you, look, I have no objection to anyone doing anything in terms of sex, as long as it doesn't harm anyone, as long as everyone is, freely making their own choice, it's of their own free volition. I think that the problematic aspect of that is when people think it's of their free volition, but they're kind of doing it because they want to keep their partner happy. That's not necessarily anything coercive or horrible, but it's kind of like, what is free volition? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, it sounds like a cereal I'd eat at night rather than the morning, Elsa Pop. You're like Nanny Di. Nanny Di only eats cereal at night. She goes on the prowl. Maybe I should test her. Maybe we should get some Kit Kat cereal in and see if she's up for it. I don't know. I just find the thought of Kit Kat cereal is a bit much. Okay, tell us what your favourite cereals were when you were kids, and then we'll do the quiz. I want to return to the days when you used to open your cereal box. I stopped eating cereal the minute they stopped putting interesting things in them. Do you remember you used to get those kind of cards or those things that you put on the spokes of your BMX or your chopper? What are they called? And so, when you went riding out in the streets in the 70s, you'd all be comparing all of your things. You'd have little kind of things on your spokes. When I was a kid, I'd have a Weetabix. It was so horrible. I think I accidentally on purpose used to let it fall on the floor. I hated it, unless you've put a pyramid of sugar all over it. What have we got here? Gabrielle, crunchy nut cornflakes, Cocoa Pops, Ellery Jones. You like the way the milk goes chocolatey, don't you? Good chip lollipop. I don't buy sweet cereal. Gabrielle, how are you feeling about this series of Succession? I've just watched episode 3, just quickly, and I think it's one of the best pieces of television I've seen in years. Just episode 3. I didn't like episodes 1 and 2. Weetabix with cold milk, Anne-Marie Loffer. Good God, Loffer. Sorry, I can never... Tell me how to phonetically pronounce your surname and I'll remember. Chocolate shreddies, Aaron Bullimore. Cinnamon breakfast cereals are all the rage in this house since we went to America and the girls hit upon them. Chocolate shreddies, let's have a look. Too much obesity in our children. I agree. See, that's my thinking on this. But there's a piece in the Telegraph today, a parent saying, I don't want to be told. I don't want the health police telling me what to do. It's up to parents. Is it the government? Is it the government's responsibility, the obesity epidemic, or is it parenting? I think parents have a tough job persuading kids not to be drawn in. Mind you, there aren't adverts everywhere, are there? Della Nixon, I only eat granola. Karen Ula, my 3-year-old loves porridge, no sugar. Bloody hell. Andrea Crash, Weetabix is a Kiwi brekkie food. Is not the UK Weetabix. Oh, it's not. You got a different one. Oh, okay. Wheatos, Emma Walsh. I like anything with a raisin. What are those funny? They're like shredded wheat with a raisin in the middle. Though I've discovered that I'm not supposed to eat raisins, according to Zoe, whoever she is. Not you, Zoe, obviously. Cornflakes every time, Dawny Harvey. I know what you mean. A good old-fashioned bowl of cornflakes with a nice crunchy sound. Sugar Puffs, who, as a kid, you would just love putting your ear to the... and they literally pop. The Sugar Pops would pop. Oh, Kathy Hyde, have to say, the McDonald's porridge is lush. Cocoa Plops. Russ. Elsa Pop. Me and my brother used to fight over the toys and cereal. With the toys, the cards. It's like when, I don't know if you remember, when you used to get boxes of tea bags, you'd get collectible cards, you'd get a wall chart, you'd stick them on. That kind of interactivity's gone. Oh, Rice Krispies. Maybe they're the things that go pop. I can't eat Rice Krispies ever since the little kind of skin tag on Toffee's head reminds me of one. I can hear Nadia saying, Mark, somewhere. Frosties, they're nicely there. Do you remember the 12-pack or the 8-pack of whatever? And we'd all get very excited about them. But you'd pull them out and there was never enough. Do you remember? Okay, quiz of the week, guys. Any of you who don't do quiz of the week, head off. This is your moment to test your topical news gathering, general knowledge for the week. I'm going to test you like there's no tomorrow. Let me just pull up. I'm just going to just pull up this because we all love this, don't we? Let's just do a little bit of kind of here. I never know the words. A little bit of Always expect the big bit to drop at that point, don't you? As if you're at Fabric. Going nuts. Okay. It's the quiz of the week. It's the quiz of the week. It's the quiz of the week. Sorry, Michelle. Any of the other topics in the title of the coffee moaning, so you won't know what to pop in your thumbnail, baby. Okay, so quiz of the week. Who's ready? You ready? Say yes. Don't say yes. Don't worry about it. Let's just get on with the first one. Canadian pop singer, songwriter, The Weeknd. Not called The Weekend because there was a band, so he knocked the E out, and he's called The Weeknd. Reverted to his birth name on social media accounts, having told a magazine he had said everything I can say under his pseudonym, apart from the letter E. Apart from he can't say weekend. But what's his original name? What's The Weeknd's original name? Is it A, Aubrey Graham? Is it B, Prince Rogers Nelson? Or is it C, Abel Tesfaye? Probably haven't pronounced that properly. I'm out of sync. Okay, wait 1 second, coming back. That's Virgin Media for you. Am I in sync? Is that better? Is that better? Just say yes. Is that better? Lots of you saying C. Repeat the question. Better, good. Canadian pop singer-songwriter The Weeknd, has revealed what his real name is. Is it A, Aubrey Graham, B, Prince Rogers Nelson, or C, Abel Tesfaye? I presume that's how you pronounce it. Tesfaye. Let me just get rid of that. Lots of you saying C. You're right. It's Abel Tesfaye. Question 2. Let's move on. Cracking on. At the age of 81, who became the oldest cover star of the annual swimsuit edition of US magazine Sports Illustrated? Was it A, actress Jane Fonda? Was it B, model Mae Musk, mother of the billionaire Elon Musk, didn't know that? Or was it C, lifestyle and media mogul Martha Stewart? Which 81-year-old became the oldest cover star of the swimsuit edition of US magazine Sports Illustrated? Look at this, C, 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 C. A, actress Jane Fonda, B, model Mae Musk, or C, Martha Stewart. Linda Tyler going off on a tangent there, saying, I said Jane Fonda. I'm not going to get 7 out of 7. Pauline Roberts, Martha Stewart, Angela Thompson. Most of you have got that one right, Martha Stewart. There you go, well done. Question 3. The title of Britain's best loaf went to a green bread named brioche japonaise by a Japanese woman who'd taken inspiration from her time living in France. But what gives it its distinctive green colour? This loaf called brioche japonaise? Is it A, edible mold? Is it B, matcha tea? Or is it C, wasabi powder? What do you say, guys? Is it A, edible mold? Is it B, matcha tea? Or is it C, A, B, T, wasabi powder? I will never forget the day Nanny died. Literally, her head nearly exploded when she swallowed, underneath a leaf of lettuce, the biggest glob of wasabi in a sushi bar in New York. Her eyes went red, her hair stood on end. She grew biceps like Popeye and then exploded. Well done, guys. Most of you are saying matcha tea. It's correct. You could have been led up the garden path there with wasabi powder. Good bit of quiz mastering there. Question 4. Loreen, not Noreen, as in the malt loaf, but Loreen won the Eurovision Song Contest. And if you were like, I don't know, in the sewers of London, you might not have heard about Eurovision. She won the Eurovision Song Contest for Sweden, becoming only the second act to claim the trophy for a second time. If she wins it a third, I wonder if she gets to keep it, like the FA Cup. But who was the first? Who was the first act to win it twice? ABBA. A, ABBA. B, Johnny Logan of Ireland. Or C, Ralph Siegel of Germany. Who's won it twice before? A, ABBA. B, Johnny Logan of Ireland. Or C, Ralph Siegel of Germany. Tez is saying ABBA. Mo Power saying ABBA. Quite a few of you are saying ABBA. Faith Goodman saying Johnny Logan of Ireland. Teresa Hutchinson saying V. Rosemary McVie, ABBA. I think you're split between Johnny Logan, maybe because of our big Irish following. More of you saying Johnny Logan than saying ABBA. You're right, it's Johnny Logan. Question 5. The British Museum said it was exploring the possibility of lending items to which nation in light of the ruler of an ethnic grouping pressing for their return after attending the coronation. So which nation is the British Museum said it's exploring the possibility of lending items after an ethnic group within the country pressed for their return? Is it A, Ethiopia, B, Ghana, or C, Nigeria? This could be, I mean, important, but I was totally not across this one at all. I guessed and I got it wrong. Is it A, Ethiopia, B, Ghana, or C, Nigeria? It's looking good for Faith. Quite a few of you saying Nigeria. I've suddenly gone very dizzy. I think it's because I've been moving my head so quickly that sort of grey matter is doing this. Lots of you saying C, Nigeria. The answer is B, Ghana. Question 6. Which unusual incident caused American violinist Stefan Jacquiou to halt a performance in the UK? A, his bow broke. B, Just Stop Oil protesters invaded proceedings. Or C, security staff ejected a woman dancing in the front row. Which unusual incident caused a famous American violinist, because I can't pronounce his surname, to halt a performance in the UK? Was it A, his bow broke, B, Just Stop Oil protesters, or C, a woman dancing in the front row who I think was possibly, almost definitely dancing to itself, whoever that was. Ross Ouch says A, his bow broke. Emma Walsh says A, Elsa Pop saying C, dancing woman, Tez, dancing woman. Quite a few of you would tell you. I went for dancing woman. I thought it was the most ludicrous, you know, a violin concerto. I mean, imagine that. Someone raving at the front having dropped some acid. No, his bow broke. His bow broke. So it's that usual moment where I ask you, who's got 6 out of 7? Who's on the cusp of total victory, heading into the weekend with a wondrous, wondrous sense of self-esteem and self-worth, courtesy of the Friday quiz. Difficult to break a bow. He must have been playing damn hard. He's a hard fiddler. Let's have a look. 5 out of 7, Emma Walsh. Faith, 5. Oh, Ellery Jones on the 6. Russ, you're on a 6. 5, Mo Power. I always get a consistent 3, Jenny Marshall, so let's aim for 4. Jew Osler, 1. Yelp. Welp, I'm 0-0, Tez. Matey flip. Vicky Young, 5. Okay, so there's a couple of 6s out there. Just fallen at the hurdle, Angela Thompson. Oh, that's annoying, that, isn't it? Question 7. A US researcher broke the record for the longest period living underwater without depressurization. He came out looking like a place. No, I'm joking. So the US researcher broke the record for the longest amount of time living underwater without depressurization. But what did the professor say he missed most after 74 days at the bottom of a Florida lagoon? What a lunatic. Did he miss A, eating fish rather than seeing them, B, his favorite TV shows, or C, sunlight? US researcher broke the record for living at the bottom of a lagoon for the longest period of time without depressurization. But what did he miss most? Eating fish, his favorite TV shows, or sunlight? I haven't frozen. I just thought I'd do that just to kind of piss you off. It's got to be C, right, Elspeth? Yeah, you're right. It's C. Anyone got 7 out of 7? Say it now. Say it proud. Anyone got 7 out of 7? If you have, you should feel very proud. Anyone got 7 out of 7? If you have... Oh, wrong jingle. I've got the wrong jingle, guys. Fuck off Friday. Good Chip Lollipop. Good Chip Lollipop, you got 7. 7. 1 out of 6, Tez. Pulled it from the brink. Well done. Well done. 5, Faith. What a shame. What a shame. Any other 7s before we head off? Anyway, guys, I hope you've had a fun. It's hashtag Fuck Off Friday. Good Chip Lollipop. Well done. Well done. Russ, did you fall at the final? You there? Anyway, guys, it's Ellery, 7. Well done, Ellery. Well done. So have a Russ, 7. Fantastic. 3 or 4 7s out of 7s. Have a great day, guys. There'll always be something landing at some point. God only knows what. See you soon.